Hello, hello, everyone. Everyone and anyone, I'm going to give it a second. I was just a minute behind. Apologies for that. Grab your water, grab a little notebook if you're interested in taking notes. I am hopefully going to share some tools with you today that you have maybe never heard of that are really fast acting and potent to reduce your stress. So I'm trying to make this the highest yield bang for your buck. Little lunch and learn. Welcome if you're here, if you're watching the recording, if you signed up for this, welcome. I love you. This is going to be awesome. All right. To get started, what I want to do is just give you a little background on stress and do some myth busting, if you will, because I think it's really misunderstood and really, really important to know that stress, even though it's this awful negative word for most people, is actually really healthy, necessary, and functional. Now, chronically elevated stress is another kettle of fish, but stress is the body's natural response to a demand or a challenge placed on it. You need stress. And I think most of us can probably best understand the example of the brain and our muscles. The brain is very much like a muscle, of course, and both your brain and your muscles need stimulus in order to adapt and grow and stay healthy. So stress is absolutely necessary, but the reality of the everyday modern human being is the fact that we're all chronically elevated in our stress. Cortisol, if you've ever heard of that hormone, is pumping through us. And if we stay in that heightened neurochemical state with excess stress, with stress that is not dosed appropriately, because stress should be just like medicine. Exercise is a stressor, for example. It all needs to be dosed appropriately given the individual needs of our lives. So a lot of modern day human beings are stuck. They're stuck at the tippity top end of their stress levels, which is why, and this is a way to tell if you're thinking to yourself, because not everybody realizes they're in that state. Sometimes it's a little sneaky because your body is trying to protect you. It feels very normal. And this is more common knowledge than ever because of the awesome mental health professionals and adjacent health professionals online spreading awesome information about the nervous system. I feel like this is going around, more often than not now, but people really sometimes don't know if they are stuck in that state. They don't know if their normal right now is actually this heightened state that is coming with some negative, unwanted side effects. And really, they could do some work to get to a more regulated nervous system state. So some of the ways that you can tell, which coincide with the negative impacts of stress on your body, are if you have very frequent headaches or fatigue, if you have a hard time sleeping, if you feel that you have emotional lability, meaning that you cry very easily or you're agitated very easily and you can't pinpoint the exact reason why. I know maybe there's many things that, we could make excuses for, but this gut sense of, gosh, I'm just emotionally on an edge. Those are all ways, and there's many, many more, but those are all ways to tell that, wow, maybe I am living in that heightened state and it's something that I could work on, whether it's in your, felt sense or not, that you really want to reduce your stress. I bet you that almost anyone in the whole wide world would benefit from reducing it. So that being said, I just want to comment one more time in the realm of, what is stress? The nervous system needs regulation. It is so healthy for us, right? Whether or not you feel really, really desperate to reduce your stress levels or not, it is so healthy for a nervous system to be able to ramp up and then ramp back down. Heart rate variability is a term I'll throw out there. Our heart rate coincides very intimately with our nervous system state. We should be able to rise it up and bring it back down. That is a signal of a really healthy system. And so it's so, so important for everybody. The benefits are immeasurable. But let's say outside of that, you've got no emotional tie to this. You're just here or listening because you're interested in what I have to say. All of these things will help with nervous system regulation, which will help with emotional regulation and mental health. But it will also allow you to reduce muscle tension on a dime. Muscle tension, whether you're emotionally bogged down or not, is something that, again, almost every single modern day human being has to deal with, right? So these tools as well will potently not only reduce your muscle tension, but also give you all these mental and emotional benefits. Okay. All this to say, let's get into the actual tools. And now you can choose to follow along or not, but I am going to encourage you to do so, obviously, with your own caution, knowing your health status, knowing that, what risk factors you deal with and whether these things are appropriate for you. These 4 tools are part of my stress reduction tools in the toolbox that I use for clients and patients all the time. We're going to start with the very, very simplest one, in my humble opinion. There's no real direction here needed other than I'm going to have you breathe in different positions. And so I do encourage you can breathe however you want to breathe, but if it feels comfortable to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, slowly and controlled, I encourage you to do that type of breathing, but this is not, a necessary thing for you. So if you have a pillow or a sweatshirt, you want to hug something in front of you, I encourage you to do it. But what I'm going to have you do here, essentially, this technique I would call full lung expansion. And so we are going to have you first hug something or just wrap your arms around you, and you're going to lean forward as far as you feel comfortable. So showing you from the side, I'm going to hug, and then I'm going to slouch forward here. In this position, I want you to inhale deeply through your nose and exhale through your mouth. What you may notice here is the back side of your rib cage, the posterior lobes of the lungs are expanding. Go ahead and keep doing this at your own pace as I'm speaking here. But if you're with me, if you haven't already, take another deep inhale from this position. And exhale. Very few of us expand the rib cage in 360 degrees. Very few of us, just based on modern day needs and postures that you're in day to day and lack of movement variability, very few of us are expanding into every aspect of our lungs. And the benefits of doing so, of course, increases oxygenation to your body, keeps your tissues healthy, but it also tells your nervous system that because you have full lung expansion, you must be safe and in a safe space and able to relax. So this kind of unlocks that stress relief. One more together here. Deep inhale. Breathing into your back, and then exhale. Now, similarly, I want you to lean over to one side. So you can, again, hug something over to the side, a pillow, a sweatshirt, or you can just lean. Now my left side body is open. I'm going to have you inhale and think about expanding into that left side body. You'll feel this part of your rib cage closed off. The other part is open. Exhale, let it go. 2 more together. Nice and simple here. Inhale to that left side. And exhale. Last one, deep inhale to the left side body. And exhale. Let's switch over. Same exact thing. Opposite side. Now my right side body is opening up. Close off on the left. Inhale here. And exhale. Making sure your neck isn't a victim of this. If you have neck stuff, if you need to reposition yourself, do what you need to do. Be comfortable when you're ready. Inhale again. Right side of the rib cage is getting that expansion, and exhale. Let it sink back in. Last one right here on this side. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome job. Last one. You can bring your hands behind you if you need to. Make sure you get in a comfortable position. Showing you from the side, I am now sticking my chest out, sticking my belly out. The front side of the rib cage is going to get that nice expansion. Go ahead and inhale. And exhale, let it go. Beautiful little back bend here. Inhale. Feel that front of the rib cage expansion, and exhale. Last one, deep inhale. And exhale. Beautiful job. That is your tool. Number one is full ribcage expansion. You can do this anytime, anywhere, pretty much just from a seated position and really, really thinking. It feels like this wouldn't be anything. It feels a little woo-woo, but if you think about breathing into your back, quote unquote, for example, if you think about breathing into your left side body, that will inherently, just from your mental focus on that area, that can increase the amount of attention, neurologically speaking, and you can enhance the experience. Doing it in that nice, calm, slow manner, all again sends signals to your nervous system that you are safe. The long and short of these tools really is sending your nervous system meaningful inputs so that you get the output of a relaxed state. Our nervous system has learned how to speak to us, and we are speaking to it. And I think that's the most powerful thing in the whole wide world. Moving on to tip or technique number 2. I am going to have you, fancy word here, stay with me, do a little vestibulo-ocular exercise that has an indirect impact of decreasing tension in your body overall, but in particular, I find through the area of the head and neck. Now, breaking down that term very briefly, vestibulo-ocular. Vestibulo comes from vestibular, which is the system in your inner ear equilibrium or balance system that has to do with vertigo. If you've heard that term or you're familiar with that. Vestibular system. Ocular is eyes. So our inner ear and our vision are super intertwined when it comes to keeping our system balanced and allowing our brain to understand where we are in space. Our head and neck is so intertwined with that. If you picture like a level with the little bubble in it that you would use to hang a picture frame correctly, making sure it's nice and straight, your inner ear system kind of has a similar situation going on where when I bend my head to the right, whoop, that level is moving and it's giving my brain a signal of where I am in space. And so sending our nervous system signals that vestibulo-ocular reflex is sharp and on point, in turn allows our brain to understand exactly where we are in space. And our brain understanding where we are in space is inherently going to make the nervous system feel safe and calm. Why? Because if we understand where we are in space and we have really juicy, meaningful inputs, clear and direct inputs to our brain, then our nervous system doesn't have to be on guard. It's not worried about us. And so I could go on and on about that, but I think it's absolutely fascinating. What I'm going to have you do is you're going to stick one thumb out in front of you. Now, again, caution if you've had vertigo, if you have migraines, if you have stuff going on, neck stuff, be very cautious with this. But you're going to stick one thumb out in front of you. You are going to fixate your gaze on your thumbnail. Again, if you've got arm and shoulder stuff, modulate this. You can do a lot of different things here. But sticking that thumb out, looking right at your thumbnail, while keeping your gaze glued on the thumbnail, I want you to turn your head left and right. left, and right. Keep your gaze. Sometimes it's tough. Blink, blink if you need to. Keep your gaze on that thumbnail. Now, if you want, you can go a little faster. Right, left, right, left, right, left for 10. Keep going at your pace. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your arm come down. Let your gaze widen a little bit again and assess how you feel. Your muscles might immediately start to relax. You might feel overall just a little bit calmer. Now that again is from the inputs that we just gave that system. We just lubricated that system, if you will. We got that inner ear talking to your gaze talking to your inner ear, those systems sending signals up to your brain that, ooh, she is locked in, so to speak. This is all personification and simplified, but you get the point. Now I want you to do it on the other side, and that's the last thing we'll do here, but same exact exercise, except now we're going to move our head up and down, just challenging in a different direction, that same exact system. So go ahead and stick that thumb out in front of you. Keep your eyes fixated on your thumbnail, and while you move your head up and down, start slowly. Make sure you feel good from a neck perspective, from a dizziness perspective. And if you can, go up, down, up, down, up, down. You got this for 10, 9, 8. Looks a little crazy, huh? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the arm down, shake it out, shake out the gaze, if you will, and see how you feel. Immediately, you should feel some stress relief in those shoulders. Your neck motion should be smoother, and a lot of people carry the tension in their shoulders all the day. So I find that this one, again, maybe not as potent full body or emotionally as the other ones I'm going to show you, but can be really, really impactful. All right. Now you've gone through the full 360 lung and ribcage expansion. You've gone through the vestibulo-ocular reflex exercise, or the VOR exercise. And now I'm going to have you do a breathing technique. The breathing technique is very, very specific, and I want you to do what you need to do. There's different variations you can take if this particular one doesn't feel good for you, but I'd encourage you to try safely, of course, because this has awesome research backing it and can be so fast acting and so potent and effective that it can reduce your stress in even 30 to 60 seconds. Now, this really is, again, about sending certain inputs to your nervous system. We are speaking to your nervous system in a language that it understands. And again, isn't that the most amazing thing in the whole wide world? If you will. I want you to go ahead and inhale through your nose. At the top of your inhale, you're going to take one more gulp of air. And then, like you're fogging a window, open up your mouth. Exhale, let it all go. That is the basis of this physiological sigh, or functional sigh, as it's called. It is mimicking. Think about at your worst moment in life, if you've had that distress breath, your body naturally tries to do this. If you're really, really stressed, you kind of sigh it out like, everything's going to be okay. Your body naturally gets into that, which again, I think is unbelievable. And we're tapping into that exact thing. Your body does that functional sigh for a reason. This is all a ratio thing. That extra gulp of air does a little something, something for expanding the alveoli of the lungs and getting that maximal lung capacity that we already talked about. That's a little added magic to this. But the foundation of this technique is really the ratio of breathing. So your inhale should be shorter than your exhale. When your exhale is longer, usually means you're vibing, you're chilling out, you're relaxing, to be simple about it. And that is sending your nervous system a potent signal that, oh, they have the capacity to have a ratio such that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Well, then they must be safe. They must be tranquil enough to do so. And therefore, I'm happy about that. I will release my tenacious hold on them. Incredible, right? In my humble opinion. So let's practice. You can do this at any ratio you want, really. You can work yourself up. You might not be able to do longer inhales and exhales yet if you haven't done breath work and you don't have that breath control. So let's start with 4 seconds and 6 seconds. Making it at minimum equal is what you need to do, but at maximum, you really will get that benefit if the exhale is longer. So when you're ready, shake it out. Get into a comfortable position with me. Inhale through your nose here for 4, 3, 2, 1. At the top, one more gulp of air. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it again. If you'd like to add even more awesome little inputs that show calm, you can close your eyes. You can do this lying down. You can do this with your back supported at the minimum, but go ahead. Let's try again to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Take one more big gulp at the top and exhale, fog the window for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome job. Just from those 2 rounds, hopefully you already feel a little bit calmer. It is kind of magical. I'm sitting here and I am giving a workshop actively, right? A situation that usually, whether you're nervous in a felt emotional sense or not, elevates the heart rate, elevates the blood pressure. And after doing just 2 rounds of those, I just feel my shoulders able to drop a little bit more. I feel myself sinking more comfortably into the chair. It's a pretty fast acting thing, which I think is amazing because there are so many tools out there. Strength training is one of them, shouts out, that give you long-term benefit, long-term amazing benefit in the nervous system regulation department. But things like this are truly like that fast acting, ibuprofen pill or whatever, things that people take to really get the effect as soon as humanly possible. And if we're in, God forbid, a panic attack state or a state that, we're not actively in danger, but we are really, really highly stressed, this can be life-changing. So I really want you to use it whenever you can, whenever you feel compelled to do so. Now, we are on to the very last tool with 5 minutes to go. This is super duper simple. You've just learned the physiological sigh. Again, you can apply other breathing techniques to this as well. But I like to mix. I would encourage trying to mix the physiological sigh with a muscle contract, relax technique. What that means is contracting a muscle means squeezing a muscle or shortening or activating a muscle. And relax is, of course, to let it go, let the muscle lengthen, let the muscle totally relax and release as much as you can. So if you've ever done sort of a body scan meditation where you're going from head to toe or toe to head and squeezing muscles and then relaxing and letting yourself sink into the bed, this is very, very similar. You can do this on any muscle theoretically in your entire body that you have tension in. Again, the shoulders are huge, so I'll show you that shrug accordingly, but you could do this with your quads, your calves, your wrist flexors, anything. If you know how to squeeze the muscle, how to activate the muscle, then you know how to do this technique. So your upper traps, your upper trapezius muscles, for example, are culprits of holding a lot of tension. So how do we activate the upper traps? What do they do? What's the muscle's job? Well, they shrug the shoulders up by our ears. So if we activate that muscle, squeeze, 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 and we do it with the inhale. Then we relax as we exhale. What that does is that's recruiting as many muscle fibers as possible, squeezing, getting good blood flow, getting nervous system input to the muscle, to the joints that surround it, to that area. And then you actively relaxing it after a full contraction, again, is just sending that input that what? You are in a safe place. You have good input, good data on that area of your body. Your brain is not confused. It's not worrying that you are unsafe. It's not worrying that you're going to put yourself in a certain position or do too much in that area where it would worry about you and try to protect you with that tensious hold. It's getting all the juicy data it needs to know that, oh girl, you can relax, and therefore I release my tensious hold on you accordingly. Again, I'm personifying the brain, but that is what's happening, and that can be applied again to any part of your body. So finally, grand finale here. Let's combine the physiological sigh and a shrug and relax and release of our shoulders. So I want you to start with that inhale. We'll do the 4 seconds. You don't have to make this the most intense shrug of your entire life, but really think about it. Really bring your mind and your awareness to that region if you need to. Feel the muscle tap, tap, tap. That can help you tap in if you're not getting it. But sit up nice and tall when you're ready with your eyes closed if that feels comfortable to you. Inhale for 4 and squeeze those shoulders up. Shrug those shoulders up. 3, 2, 1. Feel the muscles squeeze. Inhale, one more gulp at the top. And then relax as you exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do that twice more. Go ahead and inhale as you squeeze and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gulp of the air at the top and exhale. Let it go for 6, 5. Start to melt that tension. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last one. Make it count here. Inhale and lift those shoulders up for 4, 3, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for 2, 1. Take that one more gulp and let it go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Blink your eyes open if they're not there already. Shake it out. Give yourself a few neck rolls, a few shoulder rolls if you need to. The difference immediately is palpable, especially with the cumulative of all the things that we just did. My neck, this motion is definitely much different than it was half an hour ago. Now, I'll say this one more time at the risk of being a broken record. I really think that this gives patients and clients the buy-in that they need to prioritize recovery in general from their workouts or their fitness routine, and even more generally, stress management. I think stress management is looked at something that's, not a priority, something that, doesn't deserve your time. You can just grin and bear it and move on with your life. But this is literally science. This is tools that are made by health and neuroscience and exercise science and all these amazing professionals that allow us to speak with. We understand our bodies well enough now that we can actually send our nervous system, which rules us and controls our consciousness and our life. We can send our nervous systems meaningful inputs to allow us to modulate and manipulate the outcome and the output. I just think that's incredible. So let's take these tools, use them when we need them, hopefully not, knock on wood. If you need them in a moment of desperation, they're really helpful, but use them preventatively. Do one that speaks to you. Do one that feels really, really good on a daily basis, or use a couple of them and sprinkle them into your life and see a massive benefit in emotional nervous system regulation. I think, dare I say, if you feel like you don't need that, good for you. That's amazing. But I think that most of us in this crazy life need a little regulation. We deserve it, especially going into a busy holiday season that can be hectic for even the most well-meaning of families. You know, it can be really hectic out there and drum up emotions. So I encourage you to use these. Please be safe and be well. That is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this little lunch and learn. Have an awesome rest of your day, and thanks for choosing Lovely Bones. Take care.